we had a rough election in New Jersey this past November. Obviously, we all thought Jack Ciattarelli was going to win, or at least come close and do better. But you got to look forward. You got to move forward, and you gotta go, and you got to keep up the fight. So, a new Republican chair of the Republican State Committee in New Jersey. I've known Christine Hanlon for a long time. She's been very active in the Monmouth County Republican Party, and she joins us now on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. So, Madam Chair, congratulations, first of all, and great to see you, and thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you, Rich. I'm so excited to be with you today.
Great. Well, congratulations on your victory. You've been active in New Jersey politics. I knew you when I was a county chair many years ago. We've been in the fight for a long time. This past election was heartbreaking for us. We thought Jack was going to do well. You guys did very well in your county, though, Monmouth County. You crushed it for Ciattarelli there. But it was a tough day for all of us, obviously.
Yes, it really was. I mean, we really were so disappointed. And, I think we were pretty shocked because there was so much energy behind Jack. I mean, Jack worked so hard, and everywhere we went, we just felt that excitement and enthusiasm. And we just were shocked of what happened. Yeah. And, like you said, we did well in Monmouth. We work around the clock in Monmouth in terms of, what we do from the political side of things. But unfortunately, it didn't work out for Jack throughout the state.
So where do we go from here? Now that you're the new chair of the party, and when you ran for this position and you shared your message, your vision with the members of the Republican State Committee, what did you tell them? What did you say?
I talked about number one, unity, coming together, because you can't be strong unless you're unified. And, I also talked about sort of looking backward a little bit, doing an analysis of what happened and why. Mm-hmm. And then just really trying to refocus on, what is our message as Republicans that people are going to connect to? Really thinking about going forward, what that platform is going to be, and bringing people together through that platform. But also, I felt like I brought to the table really good organizational skills in terms of like building a political party. And, we did it very well in Monmouth. And, that involves, round the clock investments in voter registration, party affiliation, training candidates, recruiting candidates, fundraising. And so, and I've just built relationships throughout the state over many years, as you talked about. I mean, you and I go way back.
Yeah, we do.
So I want to bring these things to the table, and
you haven't aged though. You have not aged. We have not aged. We both
neither
of us have. Yeah, it's like it's 2004 all over again. Exactly. No, what I like about you as the state party chair is that in the past we've had a lot of people who they're money people and they write big checks, but they've never actually rolled up their sleeves and ran campaigns. They've never actually been on the ground. You have always been on the ground, knocking on doors and getting volunteers. You've run for office yourself, and you've been a party official in Monmouth County, a Republican stronghold in New Jersey. So the first thing that I think really works in your favor is that you've been an activist, a party activist, the entire time I've known you, all these decades that I've known you, Christine Hanlon. And that's why I really am optimistic about the job you're going to do. I know you're going to do a great job. I know you'll do a great job because you know what has to get done to win, because you come from a county that wins. I mean, Monmouth County wins. Jack won Monmouth County, won it by a lot. You've got obviously Republican county officials there. You're a Republican county official there. You've got Republican congressmen from Monmouth County. So you know what it takes to get the ground game going and the operation and to turn out those votes, which is critical. You may not have a background where you made tens of millions or hundreds of millions of dollars and you're able to swoop in and write big checks. But quite frankly, that's not what the party needs. The party needs somebody who can go in there and say, listen, I've been on the ground with you. I know how to do this. And that's what you bring to the table.
Yes, that I feel like is a important point, and thank you for saying that. And I think also, like, I understand what the county chairs have to deal with, what the candidates have to deal with, and really trying to think of strategies that will help us move into the position of winning. I think we need to focus a lot on our local, our county,
Mm-hmm.
and like be building the bench. But of course, this year is congressional year,
Yeah.
so that is of critical importance. We need to work with our congressional representatives, our congressional candidates. Also, it's a U.S. Senate year,
Mm-hmm.
so there's no shortage of work to do. But I do bring to the table those kind of nuts and bolts skills and the sort of the strategy background and my relationships with all of the players who are assisting the candidates throughout the state. So I hope that is something that people appreciate, and that I bring to the table with this position.
Yeah, you do, and I think there's a couple other things I want people to know about you, which is number one, you're not a person who makes money by doing business with Democrats, and that's also a really important point. I hate that I even have to say that, but unfortunately, it's New
Right.
Jersey politics, and we've had far too many people in similar positions who have done that, who've made money with the Democrats, and they partner with them, and that's not what you've ever done in your entire career,
No.
which I think is wonderful. You are pure in that sense. Number two, what you just said about building from the local up. After an election like this, where we lost statewide, but we thought it was going to be close, and then we realized that the Democrats have just made inroads in local places that were once Republican strongholds, we have to take a look. I know you will take a look at those places
Yeah.
like Morris County, New Jersey, which when you and I were together in the fight before I decided to leave and go into talk radio, and you stayed in the fight. I mean, I was on the fight too, but just in a different capacity. But that used to be a Republican stronghold, for example. So getting those areas back and recognizing what happened here. Was it just that so many Democrats moved in? Did we not engage those voters? And then the other question, Christine, Chairman Hanlon, is, and I like the sound of that. How do we get those Trump voters who vote for Trump and come out for Trump, but don't necessarily come out for other Republican candidates? And we saw that in this last election. I think it was like 70% of the voters who voted for Trump came out for Jack, but then where was that other 30%? How do we get them engaged, right?
Yeah. You know what? To me, it's really a question of getting them engaged, but also really appealing to those people who are the unaffiliated voters as well.
Good point.
In my history of being involved in campaigns throughout the years, it's a very difficult, when you look at voter behavior, and I've studied this like over the years, it's a very hard task to change voter behavior, because that's what they're used to doing. They're used to coming out only in a presidential election. And so we have to kind of devise the ways to try to get them to really think differently. I know that Jack's team did put a lot of effort into trying to change that voter behavior. But in my opinion, we have to, in some ways, understand that there's a certain percentage of the population that is not going to move there. They're even on the other side of the aisle, you never get 100%
Right.
of your voters out. So you have to try to chip away at that number, but you also have to try to appeal to those voters who are not in that pocket, who are not in that demographic, because you have to appeal to the voters too who are coming out to vote, and their voter behavior is such that no matter what, they're coming out to vote. So we have to, really have a message and an operation that is going to appeal to those voters also, in order to, bring about the victories that we need to have. So that might not be a popular opinion, but just over the years, you see that never once, everybody is coming out because they are that low propensity voter. But we have to devise ways, we have to devise strategies to continue to talk to those people and try to get them out to vote. We have to utilize vote by mail, early voting to try to get that universe of people out to the ballot box. And I know vote by mail is kind of a very difficult, subject. But what the Democrats have done very successfully is to get the lower propensity voters on the vote by mail list. And then in New Jersey, we go into an election, with a deficit into election day. So it's just, these are all things that we really need to look at. And, we got to utilize every tool in our toolbox.
Yeah, listen, Christine, I couldn't agree with you more. And I think that, and we're talking to Christine Hanlon. She's a new Republican State Party chair, and she just won the election, and we're very happy for her. Congratulations to Christine, won by a lot. We've known each other a long time in New Jersey politics. If you're just joining us, you're a mom, and you have how many kids?
4.
4 kids, right? And I have 3, and I think that one of the things, in my opinion, and I'll see what you think about this, we have to do a good job of is reaching these moms and dads there are a lot of issues around education, schools, their kids, all these different things. And I think we've got to do a really good job of engaging them and making them understand why elections, because they turn out in school board elections and you see it a lot, and then making them understand how that matters in things like legislative races, which quite frankly may bore them and may bore us, but we have to do it anyway. You know what I mean? But we have to find a way to get them engaged and make them understand the stakes are real for them. But before I get to that, your point on vote by mail is so accurate. Whether we like it or not, it is here to stay. It is the reality now. And the Democrats are beating us at this game. And until we wake up on that issue, we're going to just be hurting ourselves. And we just have to recognize this is the new reality. It's certainly not going to change under Mikey Sherrill. We have to engage everybody in vote by mail. We got to get the mail ballots returned. The ones that are sent out, we got to get them back in. We got to utilize early voting. We got to utilize every tool we have. We have to, or we're going to lose. And that's the bottom line. So I'm glad you're acknowledging that. It just is the reality. So that's that. But on the issue of education and getting moms in the suburbs engaged and dads in the suburbs too, for that matter. Can we do a better job on that?
Yes, I believe we can do a better job of that. They are engaged in the schools, but this is the demographic, though, that is like the busiest demographic. This is the demographic that is going to maybe not go out to vote on election day because, kids, whether it's school stuff, sports, vacations, they're so busy, and you've been through it. I've been through it. Getting those people to vote is a very important, focus that we need to have, because oftentimes, life gets in the way. Yep. Even though they tend to agree with a lot of the positions and, they're passionate about the schools and everything like that, but it doesn't always necessarily translate to, number one, focusing on, so like you said, the state legislative elections or a local election other than school board. We need to engage those people. But to me, we can really do that with candidates on the ground who understand that, who are involved in their local communities, who are involved in the Little League or the, PTA. Yeah. And we need to recruit those candidates, from our county level, on the local level, because then you have that like personal connections with people, and then people are more engaged in the process. because they know the person from their community, or they know them from, from the school situation, and sort of getting them engaged in the process is important.
I agree. I think it's really good. Candidate recruitment is something that we have to do a very good job in focusing on. And to your point about how busy these people are, that's why getting them to vote early and getting them to vote by mail, to what you said earlier, Madam Chair, is exactly right, because we don't know what's going to happen on election day, and they may have every intention to vote, and then they just can't for whatever reason. The kid got sick, whatever it is.
Yeah, think about what happens, I think, almost every year at election day. There's the teacher convention.
Yep.
In Atlantic City. And I think there's like time off from school. So a lot of our families go away.
Yeah, they go to Disney World. It's Disney Week down there. They literally call it that.
Right.
Yeah.
That's just the reality. People want to go away and vacation. But now you're losing those voters that might be people who would be on your, would be Republican voters. And if you don't get them to vote early or get on the vote by mail list, you're kind of losing that group of voters. So, it's a very complex, analysis that you have to undertake. And, it's going to take time. It's going to take a lot of effort. It's going to take a lot of teamwork. But
the fact that you're thinking about these things
now to begin.
Yes, I agree. And the fact that you're thinking about these things and seeing it from that perspective is a perspective I have not heard for a long time. And having been a county chairman myself, and having been involved in this, and to hear that perspective of saying we have to recognize that people are busy and they go away, and that teachers convention is done at that time for a reason. I do think that's not an accident. The NJEA and their stronghold that they have in politics in this state. So recognizing that is important. Listen, you're going to do a great job. I have full confidence in you. I'm here to support you 100%. We'll support you 100%. We want to win. We're going to just look forward and fight. So Madam Chair Christine Hanlon, Republican Chair of New Jersey, congratulations, and let's go get them. Let's rebuild. Let's do this. I'm glad you're in charge. It's going to be great.
Thanks so much. I'll be contacting you.
I'll be here. You got my number. I'll be here.
Thank you, Rich.
Thanks, Christine.
Great talking to you.